honorable delegates, in keeping with our tradition, I will now bow to my right and bow to my left. Having done so, I will now request all delegates to observe a moment of silence for prayer and meditation. Thank you very much. Just to indicate to delegates that the rules apply and so do the processes. Before we proceed, I would like to remind you of the following: that the virtual sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that the place of sitting is deemed to be Cape Town, where the seat of the National Council of Provinces is, that delegates in the virtual sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in the sitting of the National Council of Provinces. That for the purpose of the quorum, all delegates who are logged on to the virtual platform shall be considered present. That delegates must always switch on their videos, and that delegates should ensure that the microphones on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted. And a reminder that the interpretation facility is active and that any delegate wishing to speak must use the raise your hand function. And by now, honorable members are familiar with the raise your hand icon function. I will now, honorable members, allow an opportunity to delegates to give notices of motion, and any delegates who wishes to give a notice of motion should use the raise your hand function, and the table staff shall assist in this regard. Just to remind members that time allocation is as follows: 1.5 minutes per motion, 20 minutes overall in total for notices and motions without notice. And that if delegates exceed time of 1.5 minutes, that may lead to a situation where a motion may have to be printed in full on the next order paper. I see the hands there. The first person to speak and take the floor is Mr. Armand Klute. Klute, Honorable Klute.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Freedom Front, I hereby give notice that during the next ordinary sitting of the House, I will move that, considering an extremely challenging year with difficulties owing to COVID-19, prevailing droughts in certain areas of the country, as well as political and policy uncertainty, the agricultural sector continued to ensure food security. Further noting that the preliminary forecast is that the Crop Estimates Committee is expected to set the current maize harvest at more than 15 million tons, which is an 38% growth from the previous season. I will move that this House officially thank all agricultural organizations, and I said all, and their unions for their members' efforts to provide South Africans with food and work in a year we desperately needed it. I so move.
Thank you very much. There being no objection, I guess we'll move ahead and go and take that the motion is accepted. move on to Honorable Gillian. Honorable Gillian.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby give notice on behalf of the African National Congress that in the next sitting in the House, that we debate the unpreparedness or unwillingness of the DA-controlled Western Cape provincial government to deal with the widespread reported incidents of racism in the former Model C schools. The general pattern is that of Black learners being discriminated by either the hair being called the derogatory K word or not being included in the activities of the school. The DA-controlled Western Cape provincial government is not willing to address these incidents of racism, which seems to be continuously raising its ugly head in different schools in the province. This is not something new, Chairperson. As the federal chairperson of the DA, Helen Ziller, is calling Black people refugees in the Western Cape. Therefore, call on the Western Cape government to act responsibly and not only condemn, but act against all forms of racism and its manifestation. I so move, Chairperson.
Thank you very much.
Objection.
Yes,
Objection.
Honorable Labuskachne.
Chairperson, it's a notice of motion.
Yes, I think that's very useful, because the real problem that we have is that honorable members use notices of motion and motion without notice interchangeably. And that is a difficult problem that I pointed out in the past. And the whips of political parties are supposed to ensure that this matter is attended to and that no mishaps happen. The notice of motion is supposed to be very, very brief, and in keeping with such as the idea that this critical matter be considered and discussed at the next sitting of the council. So if we have a lengthy motion and the motion is not in any way related to what I was saying, please know that you are supposed to raise the motion under motions without notice. We are now under notices of motion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's proceed to Tim from KZN. Honorable Tim.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Mine is a motion without notice, so I will wait my turn. I just wanted to get my hand up.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mine is a motion without notice. If you can please note that for me, Chair, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Honorable Detroit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. On behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, I hereby give notice that during the next ordinary sitting of the House, I will move that, considering the significant increase in the amount of dysfunctional wastewater treatment plants across South Africa that are one of the main contributors to pollution of our freshwater systems, and considering that urgent reprioritization of infrastructure projects must take place to enable the focus to be placed on the revitalization of these sewer works, that the House debates the local government's responsibility and mandate to ensure decent and functioning sanitation services across the country. I so move.
Thank you very much. Motion agreed to. Let's move on to Honorable Brenda Mategula from the EFF.
Chairperson, I rise on behalf of the EFF to propose that the council debate the state of EMS
in Limpopo, as there is a shortage of vehicles resulting in ambulance transporting more than one patient at a time. And those vehicles that are available are not, and sometimes it ends up having accident with patient inside. I so move, Chair.
Thank you very much.
I'm done, Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. There being no objection, the motion is agreed to. The next person to speak should be Honorable Faisal.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to bring to your attention, mine is also a motion without notice.
Thank you very much. Let's move to Honorable Mkause.
Thank you, Chairperson of the Council. I move on behalf of the EFF that its next sitting, the Council debate and find solution on police brutality on innocent civilians, particularly women, every time they exercise their constitutional rights when they protest in the Republic of South Africa, be it in the Western Cape, where we have seen it happening recently. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection? None. There being no objection, we'll move on to the motion by Honorable Fael. Honorable Fael.
Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the Inkatha Freedom Party, I move that the next House at its sitting debates the poor state of South Africa's border management and its role in aiding human trafficking. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Fael. If the table can assist, because I don't see all the hands here.
Chair, I'm not sure whether these are for notices or they are for motions without notice.
It's supposed to be.
This is for motions.
Yes, that's the problem we have. I think I've explained in the past. We are there today. So without any waste of time, honorable members, we'll now move on to motions without notice. Motions without notice. Let's start with Honorable Tim. Tim?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this House notes with great concern the steady regress of the financial situation of the Mgeni municipality in KZN. Notes that this financial crisis has happened under the watch of the municipal manager, Tembeka Tribani. Notes that Tribani has flouted the provisions of the MFMA in regard to the fleet management of the municipality and has awarded contracts without following procurement regulations, which have led to fruitless and wasteful expenditure of over 1 million rand per month. Notes that in one instance, over 300,000 rand was spent on repairs to a truck that has not been on the road since 2014 and is still not functional. Notes further that Tribani presided over a fuel fraud scam in which officials and politicians used municipal fuel cards to fill their private vehicles. Notes further that the interim finance committee comprising Tribani and Mayor Sizwe Sokela meets in secret and will not divulge any information to council. Notes further the frustration of Mgeni residents who have threatened a rates boycott, which will bring service delivery in the municipality to a grinding halt. Calls on the Minister of COCTA for a direct Section 139 1B intervention into the Mgeni municipality in order to prevent the financial administration and service delivery from falling apart completely. Failing such decisive action by the Minister, calls on the ANC to step aside in Mgeni and allow the party of proper governance, the Democratic Alliance, to take the helm and restore the municipality to good financial health and functionality. I so move. Thank you.
There's the motion. There being no objection, The motion, I guess, is agreed to. The next person is Honorable Lucas.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I rise on a motion without notice to request the National Council of Provinces to offer its deepest condolences at the sad moment of the passing of Dr. Michelle Segunde Montero Rodriguez, and to offer our condolences to his family and the Cuban government. We would love to salute the life of Dr. Rodriguez, and we would love to value the Cuban presence in South Africa. Dr. Rodriguez has been on the front line of our battle treating hundreds of patients with the COVID-19 virus until he himself contracted the virus and ultimately succumbed. Dr. Rodriguez was a medical specialist in internal medicine who arrived in South Africa in 1990, signed by President Mandela and Fidel Castro. He has been working at the Erisurti Hospital in Upington as well as in Springbok, and Dr. Rodriguez was one of those that gave his life for the communities of South Africa. I so move.
Thank you very much. There being no objection, the motion is agreed to. The next motion is from Honorable Professor.
Thank you.
Honorable Professor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move a motion without notice that this council note that 10 Northwest provincial departments have been under a Section 100 administration from 2018 to date. No significant change could be noted for this period, and that the failure of administrators to regularly report on progress contributed to the poor state of governance. Also notes that it is imperative that progress reports be tabled, and the fact that this has not been standard procedure is alarming and casts doubt on the efficacy of the intervention. Further notes that the processes that were followed towards the invocation of this intervention should also be reviewed. This includes questions on the legality of the 6th administration inheriting the intervention of the 5th administration. And lastly, takes note that the way the national intervention has been conducted thus far is not conducive to the improvement of service delivery or any other constitutional obligation towards citizens. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection? No objection. The motion is therefore agreed to. Labus Kachne.
On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move a motion without notice that this council notes that the several awards received by the Western Cape at the 6th National Batupele Excellence Award on the 30th of October 2020. These include a joint gold award for the best functioning department of the year to the Western Cape Department of Health and the Department of Transport and Public Works, the silver award to the Western Cape Department of Local Government, and the bronze award to the Western Cape Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning. Further notes the award for the best head of department of the year, with a gold award going to Dr. Beth Engelbrecht of the Western Cape Department of Health, the silver award that went to Mrs. Jackie Gooch of the Western Cape Department of Transport and Public Works, and the bronze award going to Mr. Graham Pauls of the Western Cape Department of Local Government. Also notes that the Western Cape won silver for the best functioning in the provincial department that went to the Office of the Premier, and lastly recognizes this as tangible proof of the DA's ability to govern well and the outstanding response the Western Cape government had to the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown. I so move.
Thank you very much. An objection? None. Seeing that there's no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to. Honorable Mwima. Honorable Mwima.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, National Chairperson of the Council of Province. Allow me to rise without notice that this House knows with pride the recent successful 3rd South African Investment Conference under the leadership of the President, His Excellency Cyril Matamela. that this conference was unprecedented, both in terms of the level of organization, attendance, and the intended outcomes since the first investment conference in 2018. The conference achieved the investment commitments of 109.6 billion rand, which pushed the investment since the last investment conference in 2018 to 773 billion rand. As reported by the media, of this 773 billion, 172 billion has already been invested despite the economic hardship occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. It is our belief that this massive investment is a demonstration of resilient leadership under the stewardship of the ANC, which continues to inspire investor confidence in our country. To this end, we in the ANC rise to call on this August House to congratulate the President for sterling leadership, which is key to economic reconstruction and recovery. I so move, National Chair.
Thank you very much. Any objection? None, there being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to. Honorable Detroit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus without notice that the House notes that large portions of Koster and Swart Rigens in Ketling Rivier municipal area has been experiencing electricity supply problems due to fluctuation in voltage in the electricity supply. This threatens the safety of residents due to the risk of electrical fires. Notes that due to these voltage fluctuations, some residents have been without water for days and urgent intervention is needed. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection? None. The motion is therefore agreed to. Honorable Ndongeni.
Objection.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chairperson, please allow me to rise on behalf of the African National Congress that there has been numerous leaks of the 2020 grade 12 mathematics examination paper. Despite the earlier leak being detected, another leak was detected yesterday, hours before learners set for the examination. Therefore, commend the Ministry and Department for the swift response in dealing with this matter and the transparency in exposing this totally criminal behavior. Further, implore the Ministry to direct the matter to law enforcement to prosecute the culprits who have no regard to the future of this country. The Ministry must ensure that no stone is left unturned in dealing with this matter. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection? None. Motion is therefore agreed to. Honorable Mvaela.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move without notice that the House notes that the body of a teenage girl who was found with her heart and part of her digestive system gruesomely ripped out in KwaZulu-Natal on the 15th of November 2020. The House acknowledges that gender-based violence is out of control in South Africa and that women and girls continue to be victims of grievous bodily harm, abuse, and murder, and calls for the Minister of Police to lodge an investigation into the matter timely and ensure that perpetrators be punished accordingly. Further calls for the Commission of Gender Equality work together with the Department of Women and Social Development to effectively monitor existing litigation and legislative initiatives to ensure that laws meant to protect the rights of women and girls are implemented. The House resolved that
thank you very much.
The minister should meet the young girl's mother to pay their condolences in the host to public seminar in the community to educate people about gender-based violence. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Viola. Any objections? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to. Honorable Matebula.
Nakensa Chairperson, I rise on behalf of the EFF to move without notice that the council note with the greatest sadness the passing of former Bafana and Mamelodi Sundowns star Anele Ngonga, who tragically passed away in a horrific car accident on Monday morning. The loss of the 33-year-old Ngonga, who earned 50 caps for Bafana and also play in France and Belgium, weighs heavily on the heart of all South Africans and the football fraternity at large. I move that the council extend
Thank you very
message
much.
of condolences to the Ngonga family for the loss of their son. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you
Chair.
very much. Any objections? None. This being the case, the motion is agreed to. Honorable Bebe. Honorable Bibi.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. I hereby, on behalf of the African National Congress, that the council know that 3 men who gang raped a woman in KwaMashu in 2019 have been jailed for life by the Ntuzuma Regional Court. And further note that Melusi Nondaba, Usfiso Majola, and Mbuso Majola held a knife to her throat while taking turns to rape her, and as a result, she sustained a serious cut on her throat. Also note that she was rescued when her sister came looking for her and caught the men whilst they were busy raping her. Therefore, we commend the police prosecution team and other law enforcement agencies for ensuring that these heartless people got a deserving sentence. I so move, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bibi. Any objections? None. There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to. Honorable Malika. Honorable Malika has disappeared from the screen. Raise your hand function. We'll move on to Honorable Mukause. Honorable Mukause.
Thank you, Chairperson. I move without notice on behalf of the EFF that the council knows the brutality in which the police and the City of Cape Town law enforcement dealt with the peaceful protests by the EFF and community members at Brackenfell High School last week. Further notes that this protest was a result of the deeply entrenched racism at Brackenfell High School, which culminated at the exclusion of Blacks and colored students from a matric farewell party, which was attended by exclusively white students, parents, and teachers. Acknowledges that the Western Cape is a very comfortable space for racist and racist behavior is deeply embedded across all sectors of society. Further acknowledges that the conduct of the police in dealing with primarily Black protesters has been characterized by violence, lack of respect, and sheer hatred for Black people across this country, and that the violation of the rights of EFF members at Brackenfell was a continuation of this tradition of violence and hatred against Black people. Concedes that the police did nothing when white protesters blocked the N1 in Gauteng, and did nothing when whites stormed the police station and burned down a police vehicle in Senegal. And that also they did nothing when racist whites beat up women and manhandled police in Brackenfell. recognizes that whenever police see Black people, they see bodies ripe for assault and abuse. They see unwelcome people who deserve to be assaulted and
As
abused.
you conclude,
We condemn
Mkause,
racist conduct by the police and ask Minister Krele to account for this undemocratic practice by the police. I so move.
thank you very much. Any objection?
Objection.
Objection.
There's an objection. And there being an objection,
Thank
the
you.
motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of
And Chairperson, it won't be long. They will be out of.
Thank you very much. Honorable Klute.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, I move without notice that considering that the EFF this week stated it would retaliate against police by visiting police officials individually in their homes, notes with concern that the party added that should the SA police want to fight, they must declare it, and that they will go to their homes and fight them in their own homes with their own families. Further notes with concern that such statements incites acts of violence and terror against those who are supposed to protect South Africans. Also notes the Minister of Police's reply that the EFF has crossed the line and that they're not going to threaten the police. Further considers that the Minister called on police officers to protect themselves and said he was confident they would be able to defend themselves should they come under attack. This House notes that the Minister maybe now understands the part of farmers across South Africa who have been targeted, attacked and murdered owing to popular statements, and that anyone whose life is threatened should also be able to go to any length legally possible to protect their families and their own lives, and that this House conclude and ensures that every South African is protected from violence incited by anarchists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any objection?
Chairperson, we are not going to fold our arms as the EFF will object to this race.
Yes. There being an objection, the motion will not be proceeded with and will become a notice of motion. The last person, okay. There's Labus Kafne.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I move a motion without notice that this council notes that to manage and maintain biodiversity in our various ecosystems across all 9 provinces, we call on the Department of Environmental Affairs, Forestry and Fisheries to formulate norms and standards for a variety of damage-causing animals, as well as formulate norms and standards for human-wildlife interaction management. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection? None. There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to. We will then move on to the first order of the day.
Chair.
Chairperson. Jadu, yes?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Your name just disappeared from the screen. Okay, please proceed. You are the last one.
Yes, Chair.
No, there's Nchabeleng also.
Yeah, but I don't see your name. Okay. All right, we'll let Nchabeleng. Please proceed, Wima.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, members. Is a motion without notice on the behalf of the African National Congress. Chairperson, the notice without motion without notice is that this House to note the tension that have been arising in the Brackenfell, Cape Town, following racism at the Brackenfell High School. Chairperson, the racism remains a thorny issue in the DNA of our country and has a potential to reverse the progress made. And also the motions speak to the cheap politics that is being used within this matter. Therefore, the African National Congress call on people to be vigilant and not allow and further call for calm and peace in the interest of the nation. Unity this country deserves, respected for. I so moved.
There's a motion. Any objection?
Objection.
I object, Chair.
There being an objection,
Why?
the motion will not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Nchabele, Honorable Nchabele.
Thanks,
Please speak to the system there, the mic, and be a bit slower. We're losing you.
Honorable House Chairperson.
Honorable member has a problem there. He's not getting through. Nchabele, we can't hear you. Please try again. We can't hear you, Madam Nchabele. Please try again.
His signal's always bad.
We propose that my motion be printed in the proceedings. Okay?
Okay, the motion will be printed and made available to members and will go through a process. We will now proceed, honorable members, to the first order of the day. Air Traffic and Navigation Services Company Amendment Bill and report of the Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure thereon. I now call on Honorable MK Muima to present the committee report. Honorable Muima.
Ke re tlotlile bodulasetulo wa ntlo ya bosetšhaba ya kgotla di-province. As the Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, we want to impress upon the honorable members of this August House to vote and pass the Air Traffic and Navigation Services Companies Amendment Bill. Because this bill seeks to amend the Air Traffic and Navigation Services Company Act, number 1993. Amongst others, it inserts new definitions and also provide for a subsidiary to perform functions inside and outside of the Republic of South Africa. Furthermore, it provides for appeals against the decisions of the regulating committees and also provide for offenses and penalties to substitute also certain expressions, citations, and words, and to further provide for matters connected to the legislation. The committee did receive presentations from the department and were informed about the project team that consisted of the following: the regulating committee, the Airports Company South Africa, and the ATNC. Furthermore, the intention is to review the Principal Act to ensure that there is clarity in terms of the appeal mechanism without recourse to the legal systems, and also give legal status to the approach document, and furthermore to address the lack of clarity regarding the reasons for regulatory decisions, especially from the regulating committee. More so, the bill seeks to empower the ATNS to provide services outside the Republic. A thorough consultation with all the relevant stakeholders was done, and indeed the bill was received to the committee, was referred to the committee on the 3rd of March 2020. And as I indicated, the briefing by the department was on the 26th of August 2020. We did invite the public to submit written submissions by means of advertisement in 2 national newspapers from the 11th of October to the 2nd of November 2020. Social media platform and parliamentary website were also used to invite written comment in all official languages. I must point to the House that the committee did not receive any written submissions on the bill because there is no dispute with regard to the letter and spirit of the bill. And on the 4th of November 2020, the committee deliberated on the bill and agreed thereto without any divergent views. And on the 10th of November 2020, the committee agreed to the bill as referred above. Like as indicated, this piece of legislation seeks to empower the minister to make regulations by notice in the Gazette after consultation with the committee and the aviation industry, and also enable the company to extend its business outside of the Republic. Therefore, the Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure makes a humble appeal to the August House and honorable members to indeed vote in favor. And lastly, to express our gratitude to all the committee members for the matured manner in which they engage with this bill. I put the bill before the House for endorsement. Thank you, Honorable National Chair.
You can hear the chair.
Chairperson, unmute, please. Chairperson, unmute, please.
Yes, you can
Chairperson,
hear.
unmute, please. Unmute.
No, thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Lucas. And now put the question. The question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow political parties to make their declaration of vote. If they so wish, maximum time allocated for this purpose is 3 minutes per declaration. Anyone wishing to make a declaration?
Chairperson,
Honorable Mugause.
The EFF would like to bring this to your attention, Chairperson. The Air Traffic and Navigation Services Company is a good example of an efficient state-owned company that performs its duties, such as controlling navigation and air traffic, with impeccable skills. The company is not confined to any regional limitation, as it controls navigation in about 10% of international airspace. This proves, Chairperson, that it is not the idea of state-owned companies that is wrong, but rather it is use of state-owned companies for reasons that we should all be fighting for. State-owned companies that are geared towards efficiency and for a developmental impact are necessary requisites for a developing society such as ours. While the Air Traffic Navigation Services Company Amendment Bill may appear as a bill seeking to strengthen administrative functioning, we do feel that the bill has the potential to change ways in which air traffic navigation has been conducted and, in the process, unlocking vast economic opportunities. The other stated purpose of the bill is to give legislative powers to the Air Traffic and Navigation Services Company to establish subsidiaries and operate beyond borders of South Africa. Chairperson, we are therefore in support of the development of a subsidiary that would be responsible for the acquisition, establishment, development, provision, maintenance, management, control of or operation of air navigation infrastructure and air traffic services or air navigation services outside of the Republic of South Africa. This is rather crucial for the development of Africa's capacity to provide navigation and air traffic control to enable our own continental ability to manage and develop our space, Chairperson. This bill, Chairperson, has a potential also to play a much broader research and development and economic transformation role. If given enough strategic direction there in a political will. We are, however, uneasy with the granting to the Minister of yet to be defined powers to make regulations regarding any matter related to economic regulations and procedures. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mkause. Any other declaration? None. We now proceed to voting on the question. Please note that each delegate, including special delegates, has one vote. The question is that the bill be agreed to. We'll now move on and find out who is voting in favor. And those who are voting in favor should please raise their hands. And please keep your hand raised until you are notified otherwise. Those wishing to vote in favor.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Mushodi vote in favor.
Honorable Mushodi, noted.
Mudise.
Mudise, noted.
Chairman.
Yebo.
Sihamba nayo.
Eastern Cape.
Ritamayo.
Oh, Mtsamai, okay. Mtsamai, okay. Eastern Cape, Mtsamai. I guess the team has been counting and they have a fairly good idea how many hands have been raised in favor. We'll ask the table to lower the hands to prepare for the next vote.
Did you know Dodovicha?
We note you as we move along. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to delegates who wish to vote against. Please raise your hands, honorable delegates. Those who wish to vote against. And please keep your hands up.
Honorable voting, Chair. We're voting in favor.
No. We're voting now. We're counting hands that are voting against. Thank you. I'm sure the count now is complete, and the table will lower the hands if there were any. We move on to delegates who are abstaining. We're calling upon those who are abstaining to please raise their hands. Please raise your hands. Doesn't seem like there's any. The count is now complete, and the table will lower whatever hands are there, may be there. Voting is now closed, and we'll ask the table to submit the results. 0. No abstention. Thank you very much. The voting is as follows. The results are as follows. In favor, 39. Against, 0. Abstention, 0. So the majority of members of delegates present have voted in favor of the bill. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. We move to the next order. The second order is Airport Company Amendment Bill and report of Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure thereon. I call on Honorable Muima to present the report.
Ke re tutlile gape modulasetulo wa ntlo ya bosetšhaba ya kgotla ya diprovince. On behalf of the Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure, we again implore on honorable members to vote and pass the Airports Company Amendment Bill. This Airports Company Amendment Bill, in this instance, it seeks to amend the Airports Company Act of 1993, Act number 44. Hereby referred to as the Municipal Act, to strengthen the current economic regulatory framework. As part and parcel of strengthening the process towards the approach on this bill, the department, guided by the Civil Aviation Branch, constituted the project team consisting of the following stakeholders: AXA, Traffic and Navigation Services, the Board of Airlines Representatives of South Africa, called BASA, and the Airlines Association of Southern Africa was established. The purpose of the review of this Municipal Act, among others, is as follows: to address the lack of effective appeal mechanisms, two, to ensure that it gives legal status to the approach document, thirdly, to address the lack of clarity regarding the reasons for regulatory decisions, and to ensure that it prescribes the procedure the minister must follow when appointing members of the Committee and Appeals Committee, and to also empower the minister to make regulations regarding matters related to economic regulations and the procedure to be followed by the committee regarding non-compliance by the company. As part of the consultative processes, Honorable National Chair, the bill was referred to the committee on the 3rd of March 2020, and the committee was briefed by the Department of Transport on the 26th of August 2020, following which the committee invited the public to submit written submissions by means of advertisements in 2 national newspapers from the 11th of October to the 2nd of November 2020. Again, social media platforms and parliamentary websites were also invoked to source written comment in all official languages. Indeed, again, in this instance, the National Chair, the committee did not receive any written submissions on the bill, therefore illustrating convergence of views on the importance and significance of this amendment. On the 4th of November 2020, the committee deliberated on the bill, and on the 10th November 2020, the committee agreed to the bill as referred to it, outlining the view that indeed there is convergence of views from our public with regard to the amendment of and the importance of this bill. The Select Committee on Transport, Public Works and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure, hereby make a humble appeal to all the delegates who participated in this process for the diligent manner in which they engage with this process, but also to then make a humble appeal to the House and honorable members to vote in favor of the bill. Thank you, Honorable National Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muima. I now put the question. The question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow political parties to make the titration of votes if they so wish. The maximum of honorable members, if I may remind you, is 3 minutes per iteration. Anyone wishing to make a iteration?
Yes, Chair.
Oh, okay.
Chairperson.
Kause, please proceed.
Chairperson, the Airports Company South Africa has developed a reputation as one of the most well-run state-owned companies through its management of about 9 of South African's airport of a well-run company is sometimes clouded by the sad reality that it is under AXA that we now have a family of rich white individuals with their own terminal at OR International Airport. Chairperson, there's yet to be any intelligent reason why Oppenheimers have been granted a license to operate their own private terminal at the airport, and no reasonable explanation from AXA regarding the possible risk this possesses for our national and economic securities. We need to know how decisions regarding the allocation of licenses are taken, and we need to hold those who take these decisions accountable. We need open and transparent procedures to be followed when taking these decisions, and we need assurance that appointment for committee and appeals committee members will be made in a transparent manner, Chairperson of the committee. For these reasons, the amendment proposed in the Airports Company Amendment Bill are crucial intervention. We are in full support of the amendments relating to the appointment of the people to the AXA committees. What the bill fails short of, however, is tightening up of AXA ownership to ensure that it remains a truly South African company. As it is, the company is over 70% state-owned, with an Italian company as a minority shareholder. Chairperson, we have seen over the past couple of years the sharpening of the appetite of white monopoly companies to take over critical state-owned companies and then turn these companies owned into profit-making machines for a selected few in this country. AXA is not immune from these mechanisms, and we would have preferred to legislatively cement the public ownership imperative for AXA in order to eliminate any current and future possibilities for the annexation of this company by industrial mercenaries. Lastly, Chairperson, we do want state-owned companies to account to those elected by the people, but this accounting must not be in such a way that the operational independence of these companies are compromised. The amendment relating to the role of the
honorable member,
regulation, in as far as economic regulations are concerned, may open up an opportunity for the minister to reorientate AXA into being a cash cow for the predatory elite now in power. While we support the clarification of and the transparency in relating to how decisions are made, we are not in support of other aspects of this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on and proceed to voting on the question. Please note that each delegate, including special delegates, have one vote. The question is that the bill be agreed to. Yes, honorable members, what are you doing now? You're welcome to vote before I say so. Please be patient. So we'll start with the delegates who want to vote in favor. Please raise your hands and please keep them there. Those outside the system can also indicate.
Honorable Mushodi, vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Mshodi,
Comrade Chairperson, I vote definitely in favor.
favor. Okay.
Honorable Nkosi, voting in favor, Chair.
Honorable Nkosi, voting in favor.
Mudise.
This is added also. Any other none? I'm sure the counting has been going on and is now complete. The table of law, all hands to prepare for the next vote. Now we move on to those delegates who want to vote against. Please raise your hands and keep your hands there. Those who are voting against.
Chair, Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Oh, now it's corrected. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Those are the hands there. The count, I'm sure, is now complete. The table of law, all hands to prepare for the next vote. Those delegates who want to abstain, please raise your hands. Those who want to abstain. Thank you very much. The count is completed. We will now, the voting is being closed. We will now go straight to counting. So it's so those who have voted in favor are 38. Those who have voted against are 303. And there are no abstentions. So majority of members have voted in favor of the bill. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in terms of section 75 of the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Honorable Chairperson.
We'll then move on to the third order. Honorable delegates, will now proceed to the third order. 2020 report on Youth Parliament held at Parliament of South Africa on a hybrid virtual platform. And I call on Honorable S.E. Lucas to present the report. Honorable Lucas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable House Chairperson, the Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and pleasure that I present the 2020 Youth Report held at Parliament of the Republic of South Africa on a hybrid virtual platform on the 26th of June 2020. The Youth Parliament was convened under the theme Youth Power Growing South Africa Together in a Time of COVID-19. Honorable members, Parliament's constitutional mandate requires that it provides meaningful opportunities for the involvement of the public in the legislative and other processes. This means that Parliament is placed at the core of public discourse through the creation of platforms of engagement with the public in sectors of society, particularly the vulnerable and the marginalized. Parliament therefore affords designated groups the opportunity to directly engage with public representatives as well as government agencies in order to unlock opportunities for socio-economic advancement. Over the years, Parliament has convened sectoral parliaments focusing on youth, women, and persons with disabilities. During the fifth Parliament, a review of sectoral parliaments was undertaken, which concluded that an events-driven approach undermined the value of such sectoral engagement. A shift towards a more interconnected and programmatic approach was proposed and adopted. The adopted approach sought to enable sustained engagement with communities as guided by a seamless oversight approach. We have therefore, since the beginning of the sixth Parliament, undertaken a developmental oversight approach as we deliberately engage the three spheres of government through sectoral engagement. We have also undertaken this approach so as to ensure the appropriate responses to address the challenges faced by vulnerable groups in our society. Parliament has been able to engage communities in a dynamic and a sustained manner. Honorable members, the objective of the Youth Parliament were to deliberate on the oversight role of the legislative sector, including local government, in accelerating the youth economic agenda post-COVID-19, to identify structural arrangements of the South African economy that entrench barriers to youth participation and employment, deliberate on the legal framework in place, its adequacy to advance the youth developmental agenda, create structures led by office bearers across the three spheres to track and oversee the implementation of catalyzing policy priorities, including the implementation of executive undertakings. During the deliberations, some of the salient matters that young people resolve is that decisions on youth should not be taken without their own participation. They urged all spheres of government to prioritize youth entrepreneurship. They implored Parliament to ensure that the cost of data should be reduced in order to make it more accessible for young people. The education system must be restructured to create job creators as opposed to job seekers. Education should focus on developing critical thinking skills among learners, and government needs to speed up the implementation of its policy on gender-based violence. In conclusion, the youth in South Africa continue to experience multidimensional and intergenerational poverty, which is exacerbated by low levels of education and skills. Structural unemployment continues to rise from the existing mismatch between skill levels and poverty. Vulnerability within the youth strata is evidently multi-layered in terms of its impact on the youth in general, but there is gender, educational levels, and geography which also contributes towards existing conditions. It is also important to underscore the reality that although young people in general suffer severe deprivations, the impact on young women is more pronounced. Youth under development definitely also has a gender dimension. The youth of our country remain an integral part of our democratic structures. They have a wide range of ideas, thoughts, and perspectives that can enrich our decision-making processes. The way to elicit these ideas and perspectives is through engagement with our young people. As Parliament, we therefore want to express our appreciation to the young people who participated in the 2020 Youth Parliament. We therefore table the report for adoption. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lucas. And now put the question. The question is that the report be adopted. Before I proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. Again, just a reminder, 3 minutes per declaration. Any province wishing to make a declaration? None. I guess we shall then move on and proceed to voting on the question. And the question.
Wait, yes.
Sorry? Hello? We shall then now proceed to voting on the question and the question that the report be adopted. We call on provinces to cast their votes, and when called upon to do so, heads of delegation must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We shall do so in alphabetical order. The Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape agreed.
Eastern Cape agrees. Free State.
Free State is in support, Chair.
Free State is in support. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support, Chair.
Gauteng in support. KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal iyayiseka. Limpopo. Limpopo doesn't be there for now. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Mpumalanga supports. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Chair.
Northern Cape support. Northwest.
Northwest support, Chairperson.
Northwest support. Western Cape.
Western Cape supports.
Western Cape supports. Voting is now closed.
Chairperson, Limpopo supports, Chairperson.
Limpopo is also there. Having closed the voting, we'll now await the results.
Provinces agree.
Chairperson,
The results, all 9 provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. We'll now proceed to the 4th order. 2020 report on Women's Parliament held at Parliament of South Africa on a hybrid virtual platform. And I call on Honorable Lucas to present the report.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, House Chairperson, Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces, honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to table this report of the 6th Parliament's Women's Parliament that have been held on the 28th of August, when Parliament of the Republic of South Africa hosted a hybrid Women's Parliament. The session was convened under the theme, and I quote, Generation Equality, Advancing Our Collective Efforts to End Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, close quote. The 2020 Women's Parliament took place after we marked almost a year since Parliament convened its inaugural Women's Parliament, which was subsequently followed by September 2019 joint gender-based violence debate, where the President tabled a comprehensive program of action to address matters of GBV and the economic status of women. As Parliament, through sectoral work, we are continuing to forge and consolidate a social and cultural partnership between government and organizations of civil society. We are in the process of setting up mechanisms and programs which are designed to intensify an ongoing campaign to educate the whole of society about the extent of the problem of gender-based violence and femicide. Through the district and provincial women's charter reviews, we have started to embark on an in-depth review of the systemic and systematic weaknesses in the national gender machinery in order to improve the functionality of the gender machinery. We are looking at meaningful ways to anchor our work across the 3 spheres of government to set up coherent, cohesive, and measurable policy priorities. These processes will be anchored in the sectoral parliament's oversight model, which was agreed to by the speakers of all provincial legislatures. Since the beginning of the 6th Parliament, the sector parliaments program has enabled us to assert Parliament's oversight and accountability role, to agitate for more effective responses to issues of gender-based violence and the poverty and inequality faced by women. Honourable members, honourable delegates, the objectives of the Women's Parliament sought to achieve the following: a three-sphere report back session to appraise the nation on progress made in implementing gender-based violence and femicide and economic empowerment executive undertakings. Receive reports from the three arms of state about the state's machinery's response to challenges faced by women. Receive detailed reports on challenges that prevent accelerated progress. Receive action plans to be undertaken over the next 12 months. A targeted, systematic, and sustained oversight focus on executive undertakings, particularly as they relate to the implementation of policy and legislative imperatives of gender-based violence and femicide and the economic empowerment of women, was also critical, particularly as we seek to ensure that the three spheres work cohesively together in their planning, budgeting, and the implementation of such undertakings. The process, we believe, will also begin to institutionalize the prioritization of report back sessions for sector parliaments in order to continuously take stock of progress made while engaging affected communities about such program. Honourable delegates, Justice Kampepe reminded delegates at the Women's Parliament that the Constitution guarantees the protection of human dignity and the right to life. Yet gender-based violence and femicide nullifies the rights of women and children and their fundamental freedom. She said that the battle that we all face requires a relentless approach and a structured response from all sectors of society, including Parliament, the executive, civil society organizations, South African police, National Prosecuting Authority, and the courts must each play their part effectively. In many ways, the rights in the Constitution and South Africa's statutory and common laws provide a sound legal framework for upholding equality, justice, and respect for the women of the nation. Justice Kampepe further reiterated that there are certain statutory provisions that should be considered unconstitutional and that these should be brought back to Parliament for reconsideration. For example, the procedural processes that need to be followed for rape cases. His Excellency the President during the Women's Parliament stated that the country has now introduced a national strategic plan on gender-based violence and femicide, which among other things is aimed at promoting the economic participation of women in society and to enable them to be financially independent. He stated that with the launch of Generation Equality and the implementation of the National Strategic Plan, there is an opportunity to refashion society and the lives of South African women. He then emphasized that the urgency to achieve gender equality becomes even more important. The Women's Parliament resolved that all government departments and entities should ensure strict adherence to stipulated preferential procurement quotas for women with consequence management for non-compliance. National departments to report at least annually on progress
The table edge was
to the implementation of national functional and effective.
Please speak closer to the mic.
We are trying, said Chairperson Sore. Provinces should have functional and effectively positioned gender mainstreaming offices to ensure effective coordination. Gender responsive budgeting processes should be institutionalized across the three spheres of government and across all departments. Provinces should ensure that all institutional mechanisms in relation to the NSP-GBVF are in place and capacitated in line with the identified timeframes stipulated in the policy. Provinces should report quarterly on progress made in implementing undertakings. The planning processes of government should take into consideration women's needs at provincial, district, and local municipality level. For instance, the IDPs and the PGDSSs of provinces should speak to this needs. An assessment of the infrastructure development program is required in order to ensure the participation of women-owned businesses in those projects annually. Detailed report should be provided to quantify the number of women who the Women's Parliament, since sectoral parliaments have also provided an important mechanism for Parliament to measure policy implementation progress, which has been realized through robust engagement with the three spheres of government, the three arms of state, and various sectors of society. We are left with 2 programs before we rise for the December holidays, and we hope and believe that everyone will join us on Wednesday and Friday as we set the gender struggle in the center stage of development as we start to begin to commemorate 16 days of activism against violence against women and children. With that, I want to table the report of the Women's Parliament for the attention of the National Council of Provinces and for adoption of this report. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I now put the question. The question is on the report. Before I proceed with voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71. If they so wish, again a reminder, 3 minutes per declaration. Anyone wishing to make a declaration? Any province wishing to make a declaration? No. We will therefore proceed to voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We'll start with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Chairperson, we are voting in favor, Chair.
Thank you very much. Free State.
Free State is in favor of the report, Honorable Chairperson of the Council. Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Gauteng in favor. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu Natal yaseka umbiko sihlalo.
KwaZulu-Natal yaseka umbiko. Limpopo. Limpopo. There seems to be a problem in Limpopo.
Limpopo supports, Chairperson.
Even divide Limpopo.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Chairperson.
Mpumalanga votes in favor. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape votes in favor, Chair.
Northern Cape in favor. Northwest.
Northwest in favor, Chair.
Northwest in favor. Western Cape.
Western Cape supports.
Western Cape supports. So all the 9 provinces support. And because the majority has voted in favor, I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to the next orders. The 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th order of the day. Honorable delegates will now proceed to the voting, looking at these orders. Reports of Select Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings. One, executive undertaking made by the Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform, and Rural Development during the House sitting of 13 June 2017, as adopted on the 27th of August 2020. Secondly, executive undertakings made by the Minister of Employment and Labour during the House sitting of 11 July 2019 as adopted on the 14th of October 2020. Thirdly, executive undertakings made by the Minister of Employment and Labour during the House sitting of 28 July 2020 as adopted on 14th October 2020. Fourthly, executive undertakings made by the Minister of Basic Education during the House sitting of 14 June 2018 as adopted on the 27th of August 2020. And lastly, fifthly, executive undertakings made by the Minister of Higher Education and Training 29 May 2018 as adopted on 14th October 2020. I now call on the Honorable Z.V. Nita to present the committee reports. Honorable Nita.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to the leadership of the NCOP and my colleagues. Chairperson, as you have indicated, will be dealing with the undertakings taken by Minister of Agriculture and Land Reforms on the 13th June 2017. Chairperson, upon receiving those undertakings, we received on the 28th of February 2018 a request from the chairperson of the NCOP, who referred the above mentioned executive undertakings made by the minister to the select committee to scrutinize and ensure that they are proper implemented. Upon receiving such, a select committee invited the minister in relation to the implementation of the executive undertaking under review. The committee made the following recommendations, Chair. I am going straight to recommendations, Chair, because I believe that all the honorable members have received the comprehensive report of all the undertakings on the thing. The recommendations, Chair, therefore, are as follows. The revitalization of the agriculture and agro-processing value chain 25 initiative that fall under the revitalization of the agriculture and agro-processing value chain are mostly behind schedule, and that the poultry projects are not implemented at all. The second one is that the committee recommends that the department provide the committee with update report from the province. Only 6 provinces were presented in our meeting, which exclude the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and as well the Northern Cape. With regards to the emerging farmers and job creation, the committee recommends that the department provide the committee with statistics on whether capital investment, both financially and human resource capacity, is producing the output expected. Based on this recommendation, Honorable Chairperson, the committee felt that we should further engage with the department so that they satisfied the committee in terms of those outstanding questions which we have raised from them. Therefore, this particular undertaking is not closed, Honorable Chair. That's the first one. The second one, Chair, is from the Minister of Employment and Labour, which was held at their house on the 11th of July, 2019. And we therefore received, as the committee, a referral letter from the National Council of Provinces chairperson of those recommendations, which undertakings, which are 5 of them. And after that, the select committee invited again the minister in relation to implementation of and scrutiny of the undertakings under review. And the following recommendations were made. that the department assured the committee if it has factored all the above mentioned executive undertaking in their current budget. However, the department indicated that additional budget cuts are expected, but further gave assurance that the implementation of those executive undertakings will be factored in the revised budget. The department was intending to add 200 employment labor inspectors on the contractual basis. These were going to help mostly with the enforcement of the national minimum wage age employment. The department informed that the subcommittee for the department informed that the submission for these had already been approved, but could not continue with the scrutiny and selection process due to the budgetary constraints. The other one is that the department acknowledges that there will be less job opportunities for young people and more retrenchments, but that the situation is being remedied by partnering with the relevant stakeholders and putting together a recovery plan which will stimulate economic activities, especially in core sectors such as agriculture and manufacturing. Chair, upon receiving those, we were satisfied as the committee that the department has dealt with all the undertakings adequately, and therefore we recommend that they be closed. Thank you, Chair. That's the second one. Going to the third recommendation, undertaking, which was again from the Minister of Employment and Labor during the House of the 28th of July. After that, we again received a letter from the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, which referred all the 5 undertaking to the committee. Upon receipt of such, we did again convene a meeting with the minister in relation to the implementation of the executive undertaking under review to the committee, and we made the following recommendation. The department has a program which falls under the public involvement with disability, as well as employment enterprise, which provides employment strictly to people with disability across the country, except from Mpumalanga.
No, the background noise.
Remember, it was looking like
Please
headphones.
proceed. Usondaba and the team there, they seem to be out of order. I'm sure the table can take care of that problem. But please proceed, Honorable Member Nita.
I removed the chairperson, Memnita.
We'll ask Honorable Nita to please proceed. The chaos in the background there is not appreciated at all.
Thank you very much. The department indicated that some of the challenges the SMM is experiencing is the unavailability of working capital. It reported that the department has an instrument called Impact Social Fund administered by the Public Investment Corporation. The scheme ensures support mechanism and sustainability of SMEs. We therefore, as the committee said, we are satisfied about the implementation of our undertakings by the minister, and we recommend that they be closed as well. That was the third one. Going to the fourth undertaking, which is from the Minister of Basic Education during the House sitting of June 14, 2018. And then we received a referral from the National Council of Provinces chairperson on the 4th of October 2018 to ensure that we make sure that the undertakings were implemented and also properly scrutinized. There were 7 undertakings. We as well invited the minister in relation to the implementation of the executive undertakings under review, and we recommended the following recommendations: that the National Curriculum and Assessment Task Team was mandated to align the National Curriculum Statement policies to allow automatic progression, especially in the lower grades. And the other one, that partnership with the private sector for awareness campaign in dealing with repetition and dropout rate that is very high through safety, a core curriculum and enrichment policy, sport and enrichment program, managing impact of pregnancy on schooling, improving progression policy as a low-cost way to improve efficiency, dealing with specific barriers to learning and improving fundamental quality of learning. The department has developed curricula and a learning technique support material for the 26 technical occupational subjects for ordinary schools of skills and as well finalized. It was reported that 67 schools for the learners with specific education needs were provided with connectivity. We then got satisfied as the committee, and we therefore recommend as well these undertakings can be closed. Going to the 5th undertaking, which was made by the Minister of Higher Education and Training during the House sitting of the 29th of May 2020. The chairperson of the National Council of Provinces referred the above-mentioned executive undertaking made by the minister for scrutiny and ensure the proper implementation. And thereafter, the committee convened a meeting with the minister in relation to the implementation of the executive undertaking under review, and we made the following observation: that COVID-19 negatively impacted workplace placement program and apprentices, but that this matter was being addressed by the relevant stakeholders. The committee also noted that the skills levy holiday lost close to 10 billion, but this was being addressed through NADLAC to mitigate the loss. The department indicated that the UCDP was specifically focused on the development of South African academic professional staff. The UCDP was in the final year of the 3-year cycle. A new cycle would start in 2021. The department would be launching a new program to strengthen historically disadvantaged institutions, which will be called Professor S. Bengu Development Grant, to address institutional inequalities. The department will be working on the method to support the missing middle. The missing middle are those learners who have come from households with no annual income exceeding the National Student Financial Scheme threshold of 350,000, but who do not qualify for the alternative funding either. The committee noted this, that there are no formal memorandum of understanding in place with the department and the private companies, since the private sector concludes memorandum of understanding on a voluntary basis through the president's program. We then recommended that the progress report made by the Minister of Higher Education and Training and the committee observed that executive undertakings have been adequately implemented. Therefore, we recommend that they be closed. Thank you very much, Chair. That's a report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nita. I now put the question in order. The question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, and if they so wish, the maximum is 3 minutes per declaration. Declarations? I see none. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question, to remind you again, is that the report be adopted. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Will do so in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, yes, Chair.
Eastern Cape, yes, thank you very much. Free State.
Free State e dumelana le raporoto modulasetulo a hlomphehileng.
Gauteng in favor.
Gauteng in favor. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayixhasa umbiko sihlalo.
KwaZulu-Natal xhasa umbiko. Limpopo.
Limpopo uyayithekga modulasetulo.
Limpopo iyayisupport. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Chairperson.
Mpumalanga vote in favor. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Chair.
Vote in favor. Thank you very much. Northwest.
Chair, Northwest, support.
Northwest yamukela raporoto modulasetulo.
Yamukela report. Support a habit. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Western Cape support. So the total of 9 provinces support the report. And I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. We now proceed to voting on the 6th order. And I put the question in respect of the 6th order. The question is that the report be adopted. But before we vote, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. Just a reminder again, for declarations in terms of time allocated, it's a maximum of 3 minutes per declaration. Are there any declarations? Declarations? None? No declarations at all. And we shall now proceed to voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain, and will do so in alphabetical order. We'll start with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyayixhasa i-report mhlali ngaphambili.
Cape iyayixhasa report. Free State.
Free State is in support of the report, Honorable Chairperson of the Council.
Support. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support.
Gauteng in support. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayiseka umbiko sihlalo.
KwaZulu-Natal iyaseka umbiko. Limpopo.
Limpopo support.
Limpopo support. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Mpumalanga support. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Chair.
Northern Cape support. Northwest.
Bokone Bophirima ya amogela report.
Yamkhala report. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Western Cape support the report. So 9 provinces voted in support. Therefore, the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. We now proceed to the 7th order. I now put the question in respect of 7th order. The question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. A reminder again, 3 minutes per declaration. Any declarations? Any declarations? None. This being the case, we shall now proceed to voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. And now call upon provinces to cast their vote. When called upon the head of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We will do so in alphabetical order. We'll start with the Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape in favor, Chair.
Eastern Cape in favor. Free State. Free State.
That dumela le raporo.
In favor, Chair.
The report. Okay. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support.
Gauteng in support. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayeseka sihlalo.
Yes, thank you very much. Limpopo.
Limpopo yayithekga modulasetulo.
Limpopo yayithekga, okay. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Mpumalanga support. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Chair.
Northern Cape support. Northwest.
Northwest support.
Northwest support. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Western Cape supports. So all the 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. We now move on to and proceed to voting on the 8th order. And I put the question in respect of the 8th order. The question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. Just a reminder, 3 minutes per declaration. Any declarations? None. So it seems we shall now proceed to voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Will do so in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape class report.
Eastern Cape class report. Free State.
Free State support the report, Chairperson.
Free State supports the report. Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support.
Gauteng supports the report. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayeseka umbiko sihlalo.
KwaZulu-Natal yayeseka umbiko. Limpopo.
Limpopo idumelana le report modulasetulo.
Limpopo idumelana le report. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support the report, Chairperson.
Mpumalanga supports the report. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chair.
Northern Cape supports the report. Northwest.
Northwest Yamanwa ke report.
Support the report. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Western Cape supports the report. So all the provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. We'll then move on to voting on the ninth order. And I'll put the question in respect of the ninth order. The question is that the report be adopted. Before we proceed with the voting, however, I shall allow provinces an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71. If they so wish, that is maximum time allocated, to remind you, is 3 minutes per declaration. Any declaration? Any declaration? It seems it's none. That being the case, we shall now proceed to voting on the question, and the question that the report be adopted. And now call upon provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Will do so in alphabetical order. Let's start with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape iyayixhasa iripoti mhlali ngaphambili.
Council report. Free State?
Free State supports, Chair.
Free State supports. Gauteng?
Gauteng in support, Chair.
Gauteng supports. KwaZulu Natal?
KwaZulu Natal iyayeseka umbiko sihlalo.
Umbiko, thank you very much. Limpopo?
Limpopo supports the report, Chairperson.
Limpopo supports the report. Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga support the report.
Mpumalanga supports the report. Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chair.
Northern Cape supports the report. Northwest?
Bokoni Bophirima ya amogela.
Thank you very much. Western Cape?
Western Cape supports.
Western Cape supports. So 9 provinces support the report. They voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The next order is the 10th order of the day. We'll now proceed to the 10th order, report on select committee on petitions and executive undertakings. Abatembu petitions hearing held at Mtata, Eastern Cape Province on the 23rd of October 2019 and Parliament 21st November 2019 as adopted on the 23rd of September 2020. I now call on Honorable T.S.C. Todovu to present the report. But as I do so, I also hand over to Honorable Lucas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, my beloved Honorable Chairperson Masondo, for the opportunity. Let me take this opportunity to, on behalf of the Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings, present a report on the Abatembu petition hearing held on the 23rd of October 2019 and the 21st of November 2019. The Abatembu petition, dated the 2nd of November 2018, was referred to the Select Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings by the chairperson of the NCOP on the 4th of December 2018. The petitioner, Mr. Votani Majola, filed a petition through Ms. Tembi Tembe, a chief protocol officer on behalf of the Batembu Land Royal Empire. The petitioner sought the intervention of the NCOP in relation to the alleged prejudice against the Tembu Land Royal Empire. The petitioner alleged that based on the incidents, events, and activities that have occurred in the past few years, The Tembuland Royal Empire reasonably believes that the justice system in South Africa has been and is still being manipulated and abused in the same manner as it has happened during apartheid era. His view is that this is done with the intention to destroy the nation of Abatembu. This Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings held 2 meetings to hear on the petition, and that is on the 23rd of October 2019 and on the 21st of November 2019. Based on the petition, the committee made the following observations and key findings in relation to the various submissions made by different stakeholders on the subject matter of the petition. The committee noted that in all the 4 petitions submitted, the petitioner sought the intervention of the committee to ensure that the rule of law is enforced in certain cases where it is possible for Parliament to do so. The petitioner further sought the intervention on a long-term basis for Parliament to investigate the extent, impact, and the severity of prejudice that has been suffered by the Abatembu people and possibly put in place corrective measures within the context of the justice system. In its submission, the Land Claims Commissioner indicated that it had only been operating within the parameters of the current legislation. Therefore, the Land Commission can, that the petitioner can only wait for Parliament to either comply with the court order as introduced in Lamosa 1 and Lamosa 2 judgment, or for the process to be undertaken via cabinet. The Land Claim Commissioner further informed that the first claim lodged by Abatembu in 1998 had been dismissed as the dispossession happened in the 1800s, and that the land claim caters only for those people and communities dispossessed after the 19th of June in 1930. Another claim, according to the Land Claims Commissioner, was filed by the King of Tembuland, Buela Kaya Dalinjebo, in 2014, and this has not been considered. Chief Ntigaga informed the committee that the acting Abatembu King, by then as Attorney Dalinjebo, has no signature on that petition that was submitted to Parliament as the representative of Abatembu people. Chief Ntigaga further indicated that Mr. Majola, the petitioner, was not even recognized as a chief of Abatembu. The National House of Traditional Leaders also made a submission to the committee and informed the committee that government has established the interministerial committee headed by the Deputy President that is looking at the land issue. The National House of Traditional Leaders only recognized the King of Abatembu, acting King, as Attorney Dalinjebo. It further recognized that Abatembu have 2 major communities, which are Abatembu of Khote under Chief Matanzema, and Abatembu of Dalinjebo under King Azanati. According to the decision of the Commission on Traditional Leadership Disputes and Claims, all Abatembu people in the Republic of South Africa were under acting King Azanati Dalinjebo. It is the view, therefore, in view of the above, this Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings makes the following recommendations to the House. That 1, The National House of Traditional Leaders only recognized acting king as a Nati as leader of the Abatembu, and therefore the National House of Traditional Leaders cannot entertain the request of the petitioner. As advised to the committee, the petitioner therefore lacks the necessary local standing to act on behalf of the people of Abatembu. That the Land Claims Commissioner has to await the outcome of the parliamentary process as introduced in the Lamosa 1 and Lamosa 2 judgments. This has to be taken through cabinet process. Once calls for public submissions are invited, emanating from the amendment of the Restitution of Land Rights Amendment Act, the petitioner is advised to use this avenue to claim the relief. And lastly, the Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings is not best placed to deal with the issue of land, since there is a concurrent parliamentary process underway that deals with the issue of the land. It is therefore recommended that the petitioner await the outcome of the concurrent parliamentary process on the issue of the land, more specifically the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dodovo. I would love to put the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 71 if there is a wish, and there is a maximum of 3 minutes per declaration. Over to the provinces. It seems as if we don't have any declarations. Let us proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. And I now call upon provinces to cast their votes. And when we call upon heads of delegation, they must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape EA CAFA report, Sagala Stan.
Thank you, Honorable Damgeni. Free State.
Free State is in support of the report, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayeseka umbiko sihlalo, sekela sihlalo. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much, Mama. Limpopo.
Limpopo iyayetheka mudula stool.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support, Mama.
Thank you very much, Mawela Kazi. Over to you, Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Northern Cape.
Northern
Thank you
Cape
very much.
supports,
Northwest. Thank you very much,
Northwest
Honorable
support.
Bartlett. Thank you very
Northwest
much.
support, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Modise. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abskachni. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor, and we therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 11th order, consideration of report on Select Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings of 4th September 2020, hearing of the Maklala petition held on 19 February 2020 as adopted on the 2nd September 2020. I now call on the Honorable E.M. Mtetwa to present the committee report. Honorable Mtetwa, over to you.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Good afternoon, members and colleagues. Chair, I'm going to present this petition report that the Maklala petition dated 29 August 2019 was referred to the Select Committee on Petition Chair and the Executive Undertaking Committee by the Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, NCOP, on the 9th of September 2019, Chair. The petition, Chair, is signed and submitted by the petitioner, Mr. Elliot Mathala, Escott Mathala, petitioner, and on behalf of the Chonga Clinic community. The petitioner seeks the intervention of the NCOP in relation to the alleged failure by the Limpopo Department of Health to honor its undertaking of building a community health center for the community of the Chonga in June phase in the Sekhukhune district, municipality in the Limpopo province, Chair. The committee held hearing on the petition on the 19th of February this year, 2020. Chair, the committee made the following observation and key finding in relation to the various submissions made on the subject matter of the petition. One, Chair, is according to both the National Department of Health and the Limpopo Department of Health, substantiated by providing the records of minutes of meetings and the credentials of the people who attended the meeting upon request. This was an anonymous decision based on community participation of all the relevant stakeholders. The naming of the clinic was based, Chair, on the understanding that the new clinic was a replacement of the Chonga clinic, which was old and deliberated, Chair. The construction of the new clinic, Chair, meant that the resource that should be received by the old Chonga clinic were diverted to the new facility for a more efficient use of resources. With regard to the general principle of building a healthcare clinic, its size is in line with the national standard of the 5 kilometers, which is within the national norms, and it will be able to provide equality of access and service coverage to the catchment of the population. The new clinic, Madibong, is meant to serve all people that were previously served by the old Chonga clinic, that were all served by the Chonga clinic. The new clinic site was also chosen on the basis that it will have to be a central and conducive area which will cater for all the community in the surrounding areas, since service delivery for primary health care requires that it function as refer site for local clinics. Chair, the Minister of Health advised that the matter should be processed through the Limpopo Department of Health. The renovation and refurbishment will continue taking place at the old Chonga clinic for it to be operational. The CHC in Madibeng, Chair, is in line with the national standard of the 5 kilometers, and therefore the department will not be having another replacement according to the department books. Facility was replaced. The committee made the following recommendation, Chair. The committee conduct an inspection in loco at the two sites mentioned with the purpose of establishing whether the new clinic of Madibong is centrally located. The new clinic of Madibeng is also adequately staffed. There is an equity of access for the population in the catchment area. However, in light of the current pandemic, the the committee also recommended the following, Chair, that one, that the National Department of Health conduct throughout investigation into the complaint raised by the petitioner, whether this was a unanimously decision based on the community participation of all the relevant stakeholders. The investigation by the department is to take into account the following. Whether the Chenge clinic resource were diverted to the new facility for more efficient use of resources. With regard to the general principle of building a healthcare clinic, whether its size is in line with the national standard of the 5 kilometers I mentioned above, which is within the national norms, and it will be able to provide equity of access and service coverage to the catchment population. The committee is to conduct an inspection in the local at both the new clinic, Madibong, and the old Dichaunge clinic before the end of the current financial year in an effort, Chair, to determine the progress made in the investigation made by the on the National Department of Health. Upon adoption of the report, the House referred the investigation made by the National Department to the Limpopo Department of Health for further oversight and the implementation of the recommendation made during investigation refer above, and where the committee is in a position to conduct an inspection local. Therefore, Chair, a progress report on the implementation of the recommendation made within 90 days of the tabling of this report in the House. Chair, it must be submitted on the 90 days of the tabling of this report in the House. I so present the report to Chair. Thank you very much.
Excuse, I was muted, I don't know how. Before we proceed to the voting, we will allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. There is a maximum of 3 minutes per declaration. I don't see any indication of a declaration. Let us then proceed on voting on the question, and that is that the report be adopted. I will call upon provinces to cast their votes, and when called upon heads of delegations, they must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, I cast a mama.
Thank you very much. Free State.
Free State is in support, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the Council.
Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal, yeseka mama, sekela
Mama. Limpopo.
Limpopo is in support, Deputy Chairperson.
Yes, Limpopo, at least the connectivity is better now. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Thank you. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Chair.
Northwest.
Northwest supported, Chair.
Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much. The voting is now closed. All provinces voted in favor, and we therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 12th order, consideration of report of Select Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings. It was 80 seat on the 22nd of October 2020. Hearing of the EOH petition held on 16 September 2020 is adopted on 14th October 2020, and we call on the Honorable Martha Barbara Bartlett to present the committee report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Greetings to my colleagues and greetings to everybody. On behalf of the committee, I will present the EOH a Bantu petition hearing held on the 16th of September 2020. The EOH Bantu petition dated the 27th of August 2018 was referred to the Select Committee on Petitions and Executive Undertakings by the Chairperson of the National Council of NCOP on the 6th of November 2019. Secondly, the petitioner, Mr. John Maropeng Cholo, submitted a petition on behalf of the learners that went to the EOH learnership training. Thirdly, the petitioner seeks the intervention of the NCOP, alleging that himself and the learners were inadequately trained during the learnership under EHP, Abantu, and therefore seeks the intervention of the committee to address the grievances articulated in the petition, to be trained on the 70% practical work for project management and roadwork construction, which they were trained on. Fourthly, the committee held a hearing on the petition on the 16th of September 2020 via virtual platform. The committee made the following observations and the findings in relation to the various submissions on the subject matter of the petition. Firstly, according to the presentation from Service SITA, petitioners were issued with certificates of competence under the National Qualifications Framework, registered qualification as NQF. Secondly, the presenter further outlined that the learnership therefore falls within the scope of the Construction Education and Training Authority SITA. And so too does the quality assurance function of the regard to accreditation of skills development and certification of learners. Thirdly, according to the SITA policy, stakeholders implementing projects where the quality assurance function is performed by the SITA are required to initiate the project for institutional classroom training. Training implementation for programs such as learnerships are implemented on a 30% classroom and 70% workplace basis. For this project, it is noted that this method was not adopted on implementation of the project. The committee made the following recommendations. Firstly, the committee recommends the matter be referred to the National Department of Higher Education and Training for further investigation. Secondly, the Department of Higher Education and Training report back to the House with the outcome of the investigation within 6 months of the tabling of this report. And lastly, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, in addition to that, a petitioner be informed about the resolution of the committee once the report is approved by the House. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Unmute, Deputy Chair. Unmute.
Who's muting me? And then say unmute yourself.
It's not me.
Sorry. Before we proceed to the voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make the declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish. Maximum 3 minutes per declaration. If there is no declarations, we shall proceed to voting on the question, and that is that the report be adopted. I now call upon provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyayixhasa i-report mhlalingaphambi.
Thank you very much. Free State. Free State.
Free State support the report, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support,
Thank you.
Chairperson.
KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayeseka mama sekela sihlalo i-report.
Limpopo.
Limpopo supports the report, Chairperson.
Limpopo's Daidela. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support Mama.
Thank you. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chair.
Deputy Chair. Re le Kapa Bokone ra dumalana.
Northwest. Northwest.
Northwest support. Northwest,
Western Cape.
yeah, man, okay.
Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor, and we therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 13th, 14th, and 15th orders, reports of Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's performance in Q1 of 2020-21, dated 4 November 2020, Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's performance in the third and fourth quarters of 2019-2020, dated 2nd September 2020, Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's draft annual performance plan for 2021-2022, dated the 4th of November 2020. I now call on the Honorable DG Mahlangu to present the committee reports. Over to you, Honorable Mahlangu. Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. Honorable members, Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP, good afternoon. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I would like to take this opportunity to present the reports of the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament. Due to COVID-19 pandemic disease, which plunged the world into hilarious this year, the programs of many institutions in the world, including Parliament of the Republic of South Africa, were delayed from the beginning of this year. Therefore, I'm presenting quite a number of reports at the same time to this sitting. Let me, Honorable Member, on the on-site start with the report entitled Report of the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament on the Republic of South Africa Performance in the third and fourth quarter of 2019 and 2020, dated the 2nd of September 2020. The committee, Honorable Chairperson, having considered this report, highlighted observations and recommendations thereof as follows. The committee acknowledges the institution's efforts to provide progress reports on the achievements of annual targets. However, the report remains adequate due to the lack of quarterly milestones of each annual target. Therefore, the committee recommends that all key performance indicators of the 6th Parliament should be measured on a quarterly basis and should focus on the quality of the deliverables rather than only on their quarterly, on their quantity and the time in which they were delivered. The national elections of 2019 remains a cause for concern as resulted to Parliament approaching the National Treasury for additional funding to cover the amount of 111.987 million rand shortfall due to unexpected overspending than anticipated number of members who exited Parliament after the 2019 National General Elections, but only received 73 million rands. At the time of reporting, the difference of 38.9 million rands had not yet been given to Parliament. The committee recommends that the executive authority engagements with the Minister of Finance, National Treasurer, around the funding of 38.9 million rand shortfall in respect of exit gratitude for non-returning members of Parliament be intensified. The committee remains concerned about Parliament's responsibilities in respect of the medical aid contributions of former members of Parliament and provincial legislatures. Parliament is responsible for a portion of provincial legislatures' contributions towards medical aid, which placed a burden on its budget. The committee recommends that Parliament should fully explore ways in which its responsibilities is respected of the medical aid contributions for former members of parliament and provincial legislatures may be nationalized. The possibility of each of the 10 legislatures taking responsibility for the contributions of their former members must be explored. The 9 provincial legislatures should provide the committee with their responses to the proposal that they should bear responsibility for the contributions and medical aid of their former members. The committee has noted that the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure remains responsible for Parliament's maintenance and infrastructure needs and remains concerned about various long-standing maintenance and infrastructure-related challenges. Of particular concern is Parliament's capacity to provide power during load shedding periods and the slow progress in respect of attending the maintenance issues. Therefore, the committee recommends the Parliament gives serious consideration to taking over the responsibility for its maintenance and infrastructure from the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the next report to present is entitled Report of the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament for 6th Parliament of the Republic of South Africa Strategic Plan for 2019 to 2024 and the APP and budget of 2020-21 date the 2nd of September 2020. The JSF FMP, having considered the Parliament draft APP for 2021-22 financial year in its report, cited a number of observations and recommendations thereof as follows. Parliament does not yet have a guideline to inform the drafting of its plans, although ought to have ensured that it complied with the requirements of the FMPPLA, which requires the inclusion of objectives and outcomes for each program. Therefore, in order to have desired impact, Parliament should comply with the legal requirement to develop guidelines to identify objectives and outcomes across all programs to allow for transparency and easy monitoring of performance. Parliament should also ensure that all performance targets are broken down to be measured on quarterly basis in order to monitor their implementation. The committee knows that Program 3 and the members' facility will receive a substantial allocation of the annual budget. However, performance indicators to measure the performance of these programs throughout 2021-22 financial year. The committee knows that risks under each program has been identified. However, no information provided in respect of mitigation plans responding to those risks. Therefore, Parliament should develop the mitigation plans for each risk identified and be linked to specific outcome. These mitigation plans should be developed before the implementation of the APP and be presented to the committee on their completion. Honorable Chair, Deputy Chair and the members, the committee's roles notes that the OISD, the PBO, Treasury Advisory Office, the TAO, and LSS will report directly to the executive authority, although the APP has no information with regard to how the performance of these offices will be measured. There are developments, as we say. The position of the director of the PBO and the Treasury Advisor's position in the TOA have not been filled, but as I said, there are new developments. The PBO Advisory Committee should fast-track the recruitment of a suitable qualified director for the PBO, and the committee be provided with a monthly report on progress made or challenges experienced in this regard. The process of establishing the TAO should also be fast-tracked, and that it be established before the end of the 2021-22 financial year. In addition, Honorable Chair, it means of funding the TAO should be explored so as to ensure once established, it has the funding to support its purpose and existence. The committee notes with concern the long delays in filling critical vacancies. That is the Secretary of Parliament, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Audit Executive position, which have been vacant for a long time. These positions, Honorable Deputy Chairperson and members, are critical. Therefore, stability in this position is crucial to the functioning of Parliament. Parliament should fill these positions as a matter of urgency and before the end of 2021-22 financial year. The committee is concerned that Parliament applies to the National Treasury for a share of the national budget. Parliament is a separate arm of the state and cannot be expected to rely on the executive for bidding its budget allocation. This reliance on National Treasury has the potential to weaken Parliament's ability to perform oversight over the executive. The committee, honorable members, supports all efforts to increase public participation in Parliament activities by ensuring that more people have access to information about Parliament through television, radio, and social media that will contribute greatly towards achieving the public participation goal. Parliament should pursue every avenue to ensure that the vast majority citizens are able to access information about parliamentary committee meetings and plenaries. Therefore, honorable members, parliamentary committee meetings should not be aired on pay-to-view channels, but should be broadcast on the SABC platform. That's the recommendation of the committee. The committee also knows that the regulation of the FMPPLA have not been developed yet. The committee is of the view that the regulation will go a long way towards standardizing, amongst others, Parliament's planning and budget processes. Parliament should develop the regulations referred to in Chapter 9 of the FMPPLA and finalize them as a matter of urgency and before the end of the 2021-22 financial year. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the last report to present today is entitled Report of the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament of the Republic of South Africa in Q1 of 2020-21 and they dated 4th November 2020. The committee has noted the PBO's continued overperformance and the explanations to that. Such overperformance is due to the fact that the demand for PBO analytical reports it produces were difficult to predict, which frequently resulted in positive performance variances or overperformance in respect of the targets set. However, the committee recommends that the impact and quality of those reports should also be assessed. The committee has noted the OISD improved its performance and that all targets were met. It is also noted that the detailed quarterly reports and weekly schedules of OISD prepares have resulted in timely communication and tracking of resolutions. However, as in case of the PBO, it recommends that the impact and quality of the services of the OISD should also be assessed. The committee has noted the impact the national lockdown has had on the performance of Program 3, core business in particular, while the institution has for the most part performed admirably in respect of remote working. More could be done to build to ensure that all employees are able to work efficiently from home. The committee knows that the institution has developed a policy to govern remote working and recommends that it be reviewed regularly as more lessons are learned. The committee also recommends that the lessons learned under lockdown be incorporated to make the institution's overall operations more efficient going forward. Lastly, Chairperson, the committee noted the expenditure in terms of programs and economic classification as reported is not actual, is exactly as projected. Furthermore, the committee has noted the high-level information provided in respect of spending on goods and services and is of the view that it is insufficient for oversight purposes. Therefore, the committee recommends that the institutions should in every quarter provide a detailed breakdown of high-level actual spending on goods and services. I thank you very much, honorable members and the Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mahlangu. Before we continue, let me just correct the fact that the orders that have been dealt with now was order 13, 14, 15, and 16. Order 16 being the 6th Parliament of the Republic of South Africa Strategic Plan 2019 to 2024 and the 2020-21 Annual Performance Plan and Budget dated the 2nd of September 2020. Thank you, Honorable Mahlangu. I will now put the question in respect of the 13th order, and the question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish. The maximum is 3 minutes per declaration. I've noticed there is no declarations. We shall then proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. And I shall now call on the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, Yeseka.
Nkosi Mama. Free State.
Free State supports.
Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng supports.
Thank you very much. KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal iyayikhasa sihlalo mama.
Mpumalanga, Limpopo.
Limpopo support.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Thank you, my dear. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chair.
Northwest.
Northwest Emmanuel
Western Cape. Thank you very much. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I now put the question in respect of the 14th order. The question is that the report be adopted. Before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish. I don't see any indication of someone that want to make a declaration. Let us proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the report be agreed to. I will now call upon provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, Yamkela, report.
Nkosi Maha. Free State.
Free State supports.
Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng ondersteun.
Baie dankie. KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal iyayeseka mama i-report.
Yabonga mama. Limpopo.
Limpopo leteka report.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support the report.
Thank you very much, dear. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chair.
Dankie. Northwest. 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 Western Cape.
Budisa, where are you?
Eastern Cape support.
Thank you very much. Northwest again. Northwest always have problems with their connectivity.
Support Honorable Daira, you are Gauteng, man.
It's fine. The voting is now closed. 8 provinces have voted so far because Northwest was not available on the platform. So we therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. And I now put the question in respect of the 15th order. And the question is that the report be adopted. Before we proceed to the voting, shall we allow provinces once again the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish? There is no one that expressing that wish, so we shall proceed to the voting on the question. And I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, I report.
Free State.
Free State supports. Free
Thank you
State
very
support.
much, Gauteng.
Gauteng supports.
Thank you very much, KwaZulu Natal.
iKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka mama
Siyabonga mama, Limpopo.
Mambi.
Limpopo support.
Thank you very much.
Limpopo support.
Mpumalanga support.
Thank you very much, Mpumalanga. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, dear Northwest.
Northwest supporting.
And Northwest, are you also supporting the other order that is the 14th order? Northwest?
Yes.
Tebogo Modise? Western Cape?
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much. The voting is now closed. So all provinces have voted in favor and we therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Did we do 13, 14 and 15? We are now going to vote on the 16th order. The question is that the report be adopted, but before we proceed to voting, we shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish. There is no wish for a declaration, then we shall proceed to the voting on the question, and the question is that the report be adopted, and we shall now call upon provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, I report Sekela Sihlalo. Enkosi mama.
Enkosi. Free State.
Free State supports.
Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support.
Thank you very much. KwaZulu Natal.
iKwaZulu Natal iyayixhasa mama
Siyabonga mama. Limpopo. Limpopo.
Mama Rehan.
Mama Rehan, are you not there?
Limpopo support.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
Limpopo support.
Mpumalanga support.
Thank you very much. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chair.
Limpopo support.
We have heard you, Malilian.
Limpopo support.
Limpopo, you support, you give now all your votes for all the forthcoming orders. It's fine, we take it. Northwest.
Northwest support, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Northwest support.
Cape. Thank you, Ma'am Odise. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much, Melamo Skachni. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 17th order, report of Select Committee on Appropriations, and it was 80 seat on the 2nd of September 2020. The Financial and Fiscal Commission submission for the Division of Revenue 2021-2022 dated the 2nd of September 2020. And I now once again call on the Honorable DG Mahlangu to present the committee report. Over to you, Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the Chairperson, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Members, fellow South Africans, good afternoon. It is my honor, Honorable Chairperson, and privilege to table before this August House a report on the Financial and Fiscal Commission submission of the 2021-22 Division of Revenue recommendations on behalf of the Select Committee on Appropriations. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I am happy to report to this House that on the 2nd of September 2020, the committee received and noted the report of the FFC submission on the 2021-22 Division of Revenue recommendation. The report was tabled in terms of Section 9, subsection 1 of the Intergovernmental Fiscal Relations Act 1997 as amended, which requires the commission to table a submission on the Division of Revenue recommendations for the following financial year for the executive to consider and implement. However, due to time constraint and other pressing issues, the committee was unable to invite the affected executive departments to discuss the FFC recommendations for 2021-22 financial year and to further indicate whether they agree with the Commission's recommendations or not. We hope that this House will assist us to make sure that our committee programs, do cater for such an important engagement in the near future, which are the departments as indicated above. And we also want to say, as the committee, as we present this report, the FFC was led by the late Professor Plakis, and we want to say on behalf of the committee, Honorable Deputy Chairperson and the House, may his soul rest in peace. He will be dearly missed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, there was just a muting. Thank you very much, Honorable Mahlangu. I now put the question, and it is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to the voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish. There is time for declarations. If there is none, let us proceed. Yes.
This is Honorable Labuskaghni. That
Yes,
is the
Honorable Labuskaghni.
And I just want to make sure that is order number 17, the Financial and Fiscal Commission submission for the Division of Revenue report dated 2 September. Is that
Yes,
the order?
yes, Honorable Labuskaghni.
I would like to make a declaration, please.
Yes, please, you may proceed.
Thank you. Honorable Chairperson, we wish to offer our sincere condolences to the family, colleagues, and friends of Professor Daniel Plakis. He was a committed man and worked for the betterment of this country. Not one to be taken lightly, he did not suffer fools and did not fear speaking truth to power. His forthright approach and pragmatism will be missed in committee and in this country. Our best tribute to him will be to continue the struggle for economic well-being and both fiscal and executive integrity. We already miss you, Professor. May you rest in peace. The report at hand deals with a presentation that was particularly well put together and dealt with, amongst other things, the response to COVID-19, intergovernmental fiscal relations, the impact of COVID-19 on socioeconomic development, sustainable funding for healthcare, and a practical approach to NHI, and lastly, with an ECD approach to family and community welfare. While there may be some ideological differences in approach, the report gave good food for thought and was a refreshing and welcome look at some alternatives to be considered in fiscal planning for the future. The report must be treated appropriately and responded to by Treasury. Past reports have not received the treatment and earnest consideration that they deserved. Treasury needs to take this Chapter 13 institution seriously as envisioned by the Constitution. The report reflects the presentation and our deliberations. The Western Cape supports the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Labuskaghni. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question, and that is that the report be adopted. and we shall call upon provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, I cast a report.
And Kwasima, Free State.
Free State support the report.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support.
Thank you. KwaZulu Natal.
iKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka mama.
Siyabonga mama. Limpopo.
Limpopo liyamukela report.
Thank you very much. I wanted to respond in your language, but it's fine. I will have the Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support, Honorable Chair.
Mpumalanga. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support.
Mpumalanga support.
Thank
Northern
you.
Cape
We have
support.
got you. Yes, Northern Cape and Mpumalanga. Thank you. Northwest.
Northwest support report, Chair.
Thank you. Western Cape. Already you indicated. Thank you. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor, and I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 18th order. That is the joint report of select committees on appropriations and finance, 80
I'm
on the
having
3rd
my
of
hand
November.
up, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Okay, Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I'm standing to move that order number 19 stands deferred for another sitting of the House for further consideration. Thank you.
Is it 18 or 19?
18, order number 18, the one that you just read out.
Okay.
Of a joint report of the committees.
Chief Whip, thank you. So we are going to the report on order 18. It will then be deferred.
On a point of order, can the Chief Whip just inform us what is the reason why it has to be deferred?
It's a fair request. Yes,
the matter is about the two houses of parliament. We want to build uniformity when we process matters of this nature, that they are considered as well in another house. It's also for helping members to familiarize themselves with the contents of the report in a much more thorough way. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Whip. I think it's acceptable. So we are going to continue, and we will now proceed to the 19th and 20th orders, reports of the Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources and Energy, legislation relating to the amendments to the norms and standards for the management of elephants in South Africa, the Elephant NNS, developed in terms of Section 8.3 of the National Environment of the NIMBA Act number 10 of 2004, read with Section 146.6 of the Constitution, which requires that all subordinate legislation issued under the Act which affect provinces to be submitted to the National Council of Provinces for approval, dated the 3rd of November 2020, and legislation relating to the tabling of the list of threatened terrestrial and freshwater species and regulations related thereto in terms of Section 8.3 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act 2004, Act number 10 of 2004, read with Section 146.6 of the Constitution, which requires that all subordinate legislation issued under the Act which affect provinces to be submitted to the National Council of Provinces for approval, dated the 3rd of November 2020. Which Honorable Committee Table Committee say. Memo dice. What do we do, Chief Whip? Because the issue is connectivity.
Is the whip of the committee able to take us further?
Yeah, if they have the
if we-
ATC, they can just read the report before we continue. Can we assist, Advocate?
Senator, it appears that is connected.
Okay, Memutise, it's clear. Yes, yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. Yes. It seems as if you have a challenge with your connectivity.
I'm
Advocate,
afraid.
can you assist? Can you assist?
Oh, please, can I
Yes.
proceed?
We are waiting on you to table the report.
Deputy Chairperson, can I proceed?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Deputy Chairperson, I stand before the esteemed House to table for consideration and adoption 2 reports of Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resource and Energy. It is befitting to reiterate in this House that we have a progressive constitution in the world and supreme law of the land, encouraging effective intergovernmental relation and gives effect to participation democratically through public participation. Contained in our Bill of Rights, in the Constitution of South Africa, in section 24, that deals with the environment and stipulated that everyone has the right to, among others, have the environmental protected for the benefit of the present and future generation through reasonable legislative and other measures that prevent pollution and ecological degradation, promote conservation and socio-ecological sustainable development and use of natural resource while promoting justificable economy and social development. The first report related to the legislation on norms and standards for management of elephant in South Africa, developed in terms of Section 8, subsection 3 of National Environment Management Biodiversity Act. Read with Section 146, subsection 6 of the Constitution. In these two legislative constitutional provision dealt with conflict between national and provincial legislation. The Department of Environmental, Forestry and Fishery developed norms and standards in lines of Section 9 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act. The purpose of amendment of elephant norms and standards is to address the implementation on enforcement and challenges that mainly related to management of elephants in South Africa. The second report that I tabled before this House related to the list of threatened and freshwater species and regulation. The department explained that the top regulation 2007 provide for a national approach to sustainable use of the species and the threatened with extinction. In the need of the national protection, while ensuring the conservation of species, the department further explained that TOP's regulation address multiple issues, including unethical hunting practice, such as hunting in a confined spaces or hunting in tranquilized animal on by means of birds, activities related to the management of damage-causing animal, hybridization, and spreading disease as a result of translocation. Activities threaten cycad population. Registration of captive breeding and keeping facility. On the 2nd and 9th of June, the department made a presentation on the norms and standards on the management of elephants and the least threatened of freshwater species and regulation for the Select Committee. The Select Committee invited all 9 provinces. Both of the 9 provinces and the Select Committee, presentation made, held further engagement in their respective legislature and went on public participation in process as required by the Constitution.
Is there any way that we can assist them, advocate?
In 1972.
Now we are battling to hear, Honorable Chair.
We are definitely battling to hear. But we also, the report is also on the 80s, as is indicated here.
If that is true, we suggest that we move forward in terms of voting.
Advocate, we take it that this report have been 80C.
That is correct.
So if it is 80C, we can then accept that it has been tabled. Honorable Modise, we are having, it's extremely difficult to hear you. You are not audible at all. And since the reports have been 80C, we are going to put it in front of the House for voting. Thank you very much. I will put the question in respect of the 19th order, and the question is that the report be advances the opportunity to make the declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish.
Chairperson, it's Honorable
Kirby, yes, I hear you.
Is order number 19 the one on the elephant management?
The one on the elephant management, the management of elephants in South Africa, it's the norms and standards.
I would like to make a declaration.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Honorable Chairperson, we welcome these norms and standards for elephant management. I, however, need to focus on the fact that the Minister of Environmental Affairs, Forestry and Fisheries, Honorable Creasy herself, highlighted that although elephants in captivity are included in these norms and standards, it is not enough to cover all the aspects of elephants in captivity. The importance to develop a separate set of norms and standards for elephants in captivity and the management thereof after the completion of the revising process of the National Environmental Management Laws Amendment Bill to address the well-being of animals so that the welfare of animals can be addressed in the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act is important. The time frame for completion of norms and standards for elephant management in captivity will hopefully fall within the expiration of the 6th Parliament. The Western Cape supports the norms and standards for elephant management.
Thank you very much, Honorable Labuskaghni. We shall then now, if there is no other declaration, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question. and it is that the report on the 19th order be adopted. I will call upon provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyayichasa report. Nkosi Sihlalo
Enkosi ma. Free State.
Free State supports.
Gauteng.
Gauteng in support.
KwaZulu Natal.
IKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka mama i-report.
Limpopo.
Limpopo supports.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Thank you. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chair.
Northwest. 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 The member that tabled the report was from Northwest, so we can take it that they support. Western Cape.
Northwest report.
Thank you very much. And Western Cape have already indicated their support. So voting is now closed. And all provinces have voted in favor. And we will therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we continue. And I now put the question in respect of the 20th order. The 20th order being the tabling of the list of threatened terrestrial and freshwater species and the regulations related thereto. And we
Hello?
shall.
Okay, I'm in a Zoom meeting. Meeting.
Honorable
Unless
Dangor,
you
can you
call me
mute?
back.
Can you mute? Can you mute? We put the question. We put the question, and that is that the report be adopted. We will once again allow provinces the opportunity to make the declaration of vote if they so wish. There is no indication of declaration that the report be adopted, and we will now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyayichasa report mama.
Ekosima, Free State.
Free State supports.
Gauteng, thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng supports.
Thank you. KwaZulu Natal.
IKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka mama i-report.
Limpopo.
Limpopo supports.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support.
Okay.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chair.
Northwest.
Northwest
support
the report.
Thank you. Western Cape.
Northwest support the report.
Thank you. Western Cape.
Northwest support the report.
Debogo. Intoning gok no. Western Cape.
Western Cape supports.
Thank you very much. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor, and I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 21st order, report of Select Committee on Health and Social Services. Announcements, tablings, and committee reports 18 November 2020, the filling of vacancies to the Central Drug Authority Board, dated 18 November 2020. I will now call on the Honorable Morencha Gillian to present the committee report. Over to you, Honorable Gillian.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable House Chair, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable delegates, fellows, Deputy Chairperson in period, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to ravage the country and the world, let us be extra vigilant and take the necessary precaution to keep each other safe. Honorable Deputy Chair, following a referral published in the ATC.
You may continue, Honorable Gillian. There was just
published in the
kind of a disturbance.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Following a referral published in the ATC dated 28 May 2018, The Select Committee on Health and Social Services, together with one of the National Assembly counterparts, the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, embarked on a process to fill vacancies for persons to serve on the board of the Central Drug Authority. This was done with the main aim of ensuring that suitable candidates lead this valuable institution that plays a critical role in fighting another source in our society, that of substance abuse. Substance abuse is a growing problem in South Africa, with more than 13% of the population having used a drug in their lifetime, according to the HRSC of 2015. Honorable members, substance abuse requires a multi-sectoral approach in South Africa. And the CDA, as a statutory body established in terms of the Prevention of and Treatment for Substance Abuse Act number 17 of 2008, has a critical role. It has four main functions. These are to give effect of the National Drug Master Plan in accordance with the guidelines set out therein, to advise the minister on any matter affecting the abuse of drugs referred to the CDA by the Minister for Advice, and to advise the minister on any matter on which the CDA considered it necessary, and to plan, coordinate, and promote measures relating to the prevention and combating of the abuse of drugs and the treatment of persons dependent on drugs in accordance with the NDMP. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the committee thus embarked on the process of finding 13 suitable candidates to lead the CDA for a period not exceeding 5 years. And upon such conditions, the Minister of Social Development may determine at the time of making the appointment. Following an open call advertised widely by the Department of Social Development, Parliament received 64 nominations of potential candidates. In line with the criteria set out in the Act and in the advert, the committee shortlisted 26 candidates. The CV of the shortlisted candidates were published on the Parliament website for transparency purposes. In addition, verifications of qualifications and security clearance was done. Of those shortlisted candidates, only 21 were interviewed between 3 and 5 November at Parliament, as 2 withdrew from the process and 3 did not meet the set criteria. The interviews were streamlined, live to the public. Honorable members, on the 13th of November 2020, the subcommittee considered the draft report on the entire recruitment process. It then recommended 13 candidates. In accordance with the Act, the Select Committee resolved that the following 13 candidates be recommended to both houses of Parliament to be appointed by the Minister of Social Development to serve the CDA for a period of 5 years. Number 1, Mr. Devon Clive de Kweker. 2, Mr. Peter Uko. 3, Ms. Elna Chapisa Matonsi. 4, Mr. Tabu Zachariah Mohabi. 5, Ms. Niameka Mayatula Kosa. 6, Ms. Matlobonolo Sobeng Sophia Mabu. 7, Ms. Rachel Madikiledi Motsepe. 8, Ms. Nomkebu Alice Dlamini. 9, Mr. Samsivan Pillay. 10, Ms. Darlene James. 11, Dr. Hurun Naten Kitsami. 12, Ms. Nomatemba Elaine Keller. 13, Reverend Maleke Ruben Sukana. In line with the prescripts of the South African Constitution, all sections of the Prevention of and Treatment and Drug Dependency Amendment Act number 70 of 2008 and the mandate of Parliament. This process was done objectively and in a transparent, just and open manner. It has been an honor and a privilege to execute this difficult, unique, and momentous task. Working on this process has been a true reflection of the overarching role of strengthening our country's democracy. I thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Gillian. We shall now put the question that the report be adopted, but before we proceed to voting, we shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71 if they so wish. If they so wish, there is an opportunity for a declaration. If there is no wishes for declarations, let us then proceed to voting on the question that the report be adopted, and I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. And Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape, I cast a report.
Eastern Cape supports the report. Thank you.
Free
Free
State?
State supports. Free State
Thank you
supports.
very much, Gauteng.
Gauteng supports.
KwaZulu-Natal?
iKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka mama i-report.
Mama, Limpopo?
Limpopo support the report.
Thank you very much, Mpumalanga.
For the report.
Thank you very much, Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports the report, Chair.
Thank you, Northwest. 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 Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much. Northwest, once again, we are just trying.
Chair, I don't know what's happening. I support.
Total support.
Thank you.
All support.
Thank you.
Yes.
Babini, it's fine. We understand it. Now the voting is closed. All provinces have voted in favor, and we therefore declare the report adopted, and we wish to congratulate the nominees for this very important task. And in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution, we adopt the report. Now, something that even surprises me is happening, and that is, honorable delegates, that we have concluded the business of the day, and the House is adjourned. May you be safe, keep your distance, and don't forget we are in alert level 1. We are not just in level 1 of the COVID-19 regulations. Thank you very much. House is adjourned for this.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Maribongwe. Thank you, Chair.
Deputy Chair.
Deputy Chair, Maribongwe.
Thank you so much, KZN special delegates.
Yes, agree.
Thank you, Freddy.
Special delegates. Thank you.
And thank you, Lucas.
Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, what are the
Job well done. Great.
Well done.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. You were, the lips were the way I wanted them.
Thank you. You must just know that I Ruth Kopati, so you must be my mentor. Matlangu, you must mentor me in the political school. Okay.
That thing. Whoa.
I need you. I need you.
Yeah, I was talking to Sharon about it to tell her in the other side I'm doing the provincial tools of analysis, but at least I'm done with that one.
Okay, okay. No, I will. I really need your assistance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have you stopped broadcasting? Huh? Mado?
Yes, I have. I've stopped the recording as well. Hi, hi everyone.
Okay, I still see some members.
Okay.
I see Honorable Mkacha, I see Honorable Lihihi there. I don't know whose streamer SP03 is.
Streamer is one of the machines. Let me just contact them quickly.
And Mukaba. Okay, all members. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any comments, colleagues? Anything?
Nothing from my side, Advocate.
Thank you very much. Anything else, colleagues? Nothing. Okay, are we ready for the 26th?
Secretary,
Yes.
the draft order paper is ready. We will await the speakers list. The draft guide will probably be sent you by tomorrow morning or later tonight if I get it. I haven't received it. Yeah.
Stangulan? How much time are we looking at? Just for the debate. Rough estimate. Zama? Estangulani. Estangulani. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, Advocate,